Big money's accumulation starts to convert into increased prices subtly while the public is sound asleep at the switch. Even in platinum, we're witnessing the same scenario. The government has classed platinum and silver, two metals that have performed exceptionally well as important minerals. This is interesting because it seems like the Treasury is fixing the stockpile again, even though there hasn't been much noise about it. The Japanese head of the token exchange has publicly said that there is no platinum available in London or Switzerland, despite the fact that they trade 3 million ounces of spot contracts deliverable per day. This adds to the extensive discussion surrounding the silver or platinum shortage. US officials seem to be coming to terms with the fact that these are top objectives for the country. Therefore, it's no surprise that precious metals like platinum and silver are being hoarded. We have already discussed that. Someone whispered in his ear that the BRIC countries are doing the same thing. It would be wise for us to follow suit, especially given the current reactions of certain nations. Coincident with the United States' declaration of silver as a national priority, Saudi Arabia makes a large purchase, while SLV shows that silver demand in India increased by 431% year over year in May. Despite higher prices, June saw record inflows into exchange-traded funds. Yes, there is a great deal of interest in physical metal that has not yet trickled down to the retail sector, but the global elite, including central banks, sovereign wealth funds, and exchanges, are making it crystal clear that precious metals like silver, gold, and platinum are integral to their future strategies. My guess is that they didn't too. It is not to bring the price down when you observe 8 Western banks. And I will bring up Ed Steer's chart from a few months ago again, maintaining the most concentrated position of any commodity ever traded on COMEX. Yes, it is. But they aren't worried about the price because silver has no price elasticity. A very expensive thing can be made with very little. Whether it's 500 ounces in a multi-million-dollar Tomahawk cruise missile or a fraction of an ounce in an iPhone, the overall cost of the product is significantly greater than the small incremental price of silver. It is irrelevant. They've made an effort to crush it, but there just isn't enough supply to meet demand if prices were to rise. Trading on the COMEX and the LBMA have distorted the price. I believe that the increasing price would entice investors and speculators due to the distorted true value. That is not what they desire. The ability to access silver reserves rather than the price of silver is more relevant. I know it sounds weird, but when it comes to these essential components, the availability is more important than the price. That's because it's utilized in such little amounts in the final product, but you're right. There was an effort to bury it. Someone has put a hold on it. Because it is strategically important, I believe there is now a race to acquire it once it was manipulated. Emphasis is placed. Electronics, electrical components, and pretty much anything else that conducts electricity requires it. For use in military hardware, it is essential. Medical gadgets require it. I believe the difference is that Trump gets it because of how many different uses it has. Solar panels, for example, and how strategic it is due to its multiple uses in finance, the military, and industry. It is understood by his government. So, yes, I believe this will go on, and eventually there will be a fight between industrials and the manufacturers, producers, and investors who are in need of it. Consequently, there will be a scramble for resources between businesses like Sony, Panasonic, and Tesla. Disputes over the availability of a finite item are sure to arise when hedge funds and investors begin to adopt opposing positions. It's more about availability than pricing, and when you start to turn, everyone will wake up. Without warning, it vanishes, and a scarcity on COMEX quickly becomes a worldwide deficit in retail as well. I am not yet there. There are still several excellent points, but I view it as the final destination. Similar markets have witnessed explosions in the past. Case in point, nickel on the COMEX a few years back. In your experience, have you ever witnessed a situation where all players in a musical chairs game seem to realize simultaneously that there weren't enough chairs? That becomes a major issue when you have huge short positions. Short squeezes cause prices to rise and fall in a vertical parabolic pattern. This is what happens when you tamper with Mother Nature and conceal all of these things for, malicious intent. In the case of nickel, for example, they essentially undid all of the transactions, which in my opinion caused LBMA to lose all credibility. unrestricted market activity is essential. Suppressing free market freedom and letting these distortions emerge makes free markets seem to achieve equilibrium where it should. This is why every manipulation turns out horribly. We are currently in a very precarious position because market suppression can only be sustained for so long if one continues to cling to the same program from years past, even when the market begins to move in the opposite direction. In my opinion, that will lead to a disastrous outcome and significantly higher pricing. You'll witness the collapse of financial institutions like hedge funds and commercial banks due to their foolish decision to short all of these. An existential danger, that is. This may have been the final straw that caused Bear Stearns to go bankrupt. It has been a long and winding road to get here, but I think most people would have been pleased if I had told them a year ago that we would be staring at $42 in early or mid-2025. I guess that's just how I see it. In all candor, I believe it's only the start. We have a long way to go before we can see where this ends, but it should have ended a long time ago. From what I can tell, based on anecdotal evidence, economic data, and the movements of the world's most powerful countries, China, Russia, and India, there is a lot of room for it to continue. They're all devouring silver at the rate of light speed. At least on the COMEX, it seems like the Americans are feeling the same way now. I think it will ripple out to retail eventually, and when it does, the public will be roused to action, and then the show will go off. The good news for those of you who are attempting to diversify your holdings before prices spiral out of control is that we haven't arrived yet. The transcription was performed by turboscribe.ai. To get rid of this message, go for unlimited.